Good afternoon, it's lunchtime, it's 12 o'clock, it's the 30th of April. Oh, happy birthday to Captain Tom. I can't remember his surname, that's really bad, isn't it? But he's 100 today and he's doing some fantastic things getting moving, so happy birthday. Hi Leah. So this afternoon's, today's Eat, Move, Be Happy's Movement Not Miracles. I'm basically going to start from our toes. So I'm working on the basis I woke up this morning and felt incredibly stiff and a little bit clunky. So we're going to start from our toes and work our way up. So starting from our toes, we're going to kneel with our toes tucked underneath us and our bottom on our heels, and just rock from side to side, and with your toes tucked underneath you and with a bit of weight and a bit of movement, you get to stretch through the sole of your foot, your plantar fascia, which is really important for you to look after. Another good way of looking after this actually is if you get a golf ball or a small, you can buy the little balls with knobbles on, and just roll your foot with them. That helps release some tension in the sole of your foot. If you look after your feet, then you've got less, if you don't look after your feet, you've got more chance of getting problems further on up your joints. But if you look after your feet, then that's one way of helping. So when we've done some of that, I'm actually going to show you, I don't know how, I'll have to show you this way. I'm on a bit of an angle. So sit on your toes and then hands to the floor, and we're going to stand nice and tall and try and get your heels on the floor. I was doing this morning and my heels were much closer, so it's not going to work straight away, but hopefully if we do this again, that actually feels really nice through my big toe and through the soles of my feet. And then if you stretch up, this is good for your ankles and for your calf stretch, and we'll do that one more time. So just gently rock, and then one more time, push up. Oh, they're getting closer. There we go. It doesn't really matter if your heels don't reach the floor. Just if you feel a stretch from your calf and a bit more movement through your ankles, that's what we are aiming for. The next move, I'm going to turn my mat to the side a little bit so you can see the side angle, is one we did a couple of days ago, the downward dog move. So it's a good old yoga basic. So a bit like we've just done, trying to get your heels to the floor, this time start off with your hands on your floor and your knees a little bit further away. Tuck your toes under and then think of pushing your bottom back and pushing through your hands. And this will stretch, and we'll bring it back down because I want to get some movement. It's a good all over body stretch, so it will stretch through your shoulders, through your upper back, through your hamstrings, through your lower back as well, if you can think of lifting up through your hips, pushing through your hands, and we'll take it down one more time, and then we'll do that once more. I love this stretch. Think of pushing up through your hands and up through your hips, and trying to push your heels down at the same time. Okay. Nicely done. So next one, staying with our ankle mobility, we're going to kneel on the floor. Oh, my husband's going to creep through up the stairs unobtrusively.
But you can't see me.
No. So kneel on one leg. The further away from your knee your other foot is, then the more of a stretch down the inside. Let me move over a little bit. The inside of your thigh, which is fine. The closer your foot is to your knee, the more of an ankle mobility move this is. So we'll do the ankle mobility one first, and I just want you to rock, but I want you to use your bum to help. One, keep that heel on the floor, but to really push. So it's not a passive move. You should be working, if you feel your bottom, you should be working through both glutes, and your hips should be supported. And then if we just move the foot further away and do the same thing, and we push, you now should feel more of a stretch on the inner thigh rather than into the ankle. And we'll just do 2 more. Okay, and then other leg. So again, we'll start with the ankle mobility first. So foot reasonably close, and think of gripping, so tilting your pelvis back nice and flat and just gripping through your hips. So you should be working through your bottom, heel stays on the floor, and you're aiming to push that weight forwards. Now, for those of you that did this with me on Monday, or Tuesday, whichever day it was, you might remember this ankle is slightly better for me than my right ankle. We do tend to have one side that's either a bit stiffer or a bit stronger than the other, and we just work to try and minimise that. So we'll take this into the stretch on your inner thigh now, so leg a bit further away. Keep that pelvis tilted, so hips pushing forwards so that you're working through your bottom to tilt your pelvis down. We don't want our bum sticking out. So you're tilting your pelvis forward, and that action you should feel more work in your bum. And it's good to be able to switch our glutes on, because they can get lazy and not work as much as they should, which means other muscles have to take over. And if your hamstrings or your back are working more, then that can cause ongoing problems, which I can attest to. Okay, so it should feel slightly more, slightly looser in our ankles and through our inner thigh and hips. So we're going to take that to a forward bend now. So we're sort of at this level. So we're going to continue to work through the stretch through the hamstring, but also into our lower back. Now, it's a forward bend, so if you have a back that's a bit temperamental, then be really careful and make sure that you're using a surface. You can do this seated, so even seated you can bend forwards in your chair and feel a stretch in your lower back. If you need to use I want you to use a surface. I'm using the radiator, you might not be able to see. So I'm going to turn the camera a little bit. So make sure you are far enough away that your legs stay vertical, and you're going to reach forward and stretch through your armpits. And I want your legs to stay vertical. I don't know that you can see that. The danger is, imagine my arms are straight, is that we either stick our legs back or we're like this, and that way, one, you're not getting the stretch through your back, but you're not getting the stretch through your shoulders either. So if your legs stay vertical, and then you can push down on your solid surface, which helps you access your upper back, but as you push down through your hands, think of the weight pushing down through your heels, which means you can stretch more down through your hamstrings. Now, if your back is fine and your hamstrings are quite bendy, then you can take it into a full forward bend. So exactly the same move. The idea is that we lift up and over, and you're thinking of hinging from your hip joint. So I am not horrendous in my hamstrings in terms of flexibility, but I can't fold myself in half like some people can. But I can get my feet to the floor if my legs are wide a little bit. get my hands to the floor rather. And if you can get your fingertips to the floor, you can push the floor away, which means I can now push my shoulder blades onto my back. Now, I know I can feel myself rocking backwards, so you need to make sure your legs are vertical. And just fold down and relax into that stretch. And you should feel this in your lower back here as well. And actually, that feels like it's really elongating through the lower part of my back. And then stand up. Bit of a tactical waggle. Okay, so we're now going to work on moving our spine through that twisting motion. So try and keep your hips forward. So we're actually moving through the upper part of our back. Just some nice gentle twists to start off with. Shoulders come forward. So we get our spine moving in a slightly different plane this time. And then we'll do elephant ears. So we're going to go from side to side. So remember, don't let your bum stick out, pelvis tucked under. So working through your belly to keep you stable through your hips, and just move through your upper thoracic. As ever, if you move further, that's not wrong. You're just getting movement through the lower part of your back as well, which is, if that's useful for you, then by all means do that. I want to try and access my upper back a bit more. So I'm going to keep the lower half as still as I can and just keep that movement. And then gripping, clasping your arms behind your back, and think of pelvis tilted under as ever, so we're really stretching through the front of our collarbones and through the front of our shoulders. So that in itself, for me, is quite a big stretch. And then I just want you to look down to the floor, work through your bum again, keep your pelvis and your hips tilted forwards, look up to the ceiling, don't let your arms go. And again. Try and think of pushing your arms down towards the floor, so your arms should be as straight as possible. And then look over one shoulder and over the other. And a couple more. Okay. And release your shoulders. And then one we did yesterday, which we're going to do again. And this is just going to finish the stretch through the front of our shoulder joint. So you're aiming, you can do this kneeling down or standing, I'm just doing it kneeling down so you can see. You're aiming to get one arm all the way up your back, keeping that shoulder rolling backwards. So nice and open across the front of your shoulder, and my shoulder blade is flat on my back. Now this side, I'm not too bad. I can get my shoulder, that's not hurting me, and there's some movement there. And then I'm going to reach up with the other arm, and I can just about get hold. And then I work to increase the stretch through my right arm. So my right arm, one up by my elbow, by my ear, I'm trying to push my elbow back. I'm not letting my back arch. I'm breathing into it. Okay, and then release slowly. Now the other arm, I can't get my right arm as far up my back. It will only go to there. This one is a bit of a stiffer joint. It's always been this way, never properly recovered from its operation. So I use a strap. So get hold of, you can use a dressing gown cord or an ordinary belt. And the idea is you reach down as low as you can go and try and get your hands as close as possible. The closer you can get, the bigger the stretch I can get in my arm with my elbow by my ear. Now you don't want to overdo the tension. My right arm, my right shoulder there doesn't like doing this, so I do it gradually. This is not about pain in the joint, it's about mobility in the joint. So don't stretch through pain. And just release. And your shoulders now should feel like there's a bit more space, there's a bit more movement, hopefully starting with our toes and working all the way up. And you can do that routine or variations of that routine just to wake your body up in the morning when you've been sitting at either at a desk or in front of the television for long periods of time. Golden rule, keep moving regularly. So sitting still for long periods in any position is really not good for us. So keep everything moving and ward off those aches and pains. Let us know how you go, and if there's anything that you would like us to cover, then that would be brilliant. I think it's going to be Karen doing this tomorrow. I've got a meeting thing that is an all day, so I don't think I'm going to be able to escape. If I can, I will, but if not, I will see you on Monday. And if you would like to check out some more information around moving better, exercise options, ideas for healthier eating, looking after your mental health, all things health, fitness and well-being, check out Eat Move Be Happy at www.eatmovebehappy.com. If you're watching this, then you will know about our peer support group, which is on Facebook, which is an open group at the moment because of the COVID situation, trying to help as many people as possible. But if you want to go and check out more of the resource on the website, you get a 5-day free trial. So you can go and have a bit of a troll around and see if that helps you. And please share this with as many people as possible. It would be really useful to know that we were helping lots and lots of people who are probably sitting still for much longer in the current situation. So have a good rest of your Thursday. Might see you tomorrow, but if not, I'll see you on Monday. Thank you. Bye-bye.